Hey, this is Professor Perez from Saddleback College again. Today, we're going to do an introduction to division. And of course, we cannot have a class without our student of the semester, and that's Charlie. He better be ready to go. Charlie, wake up over there. What are you doing? You're on vacation or something? Take out a piece of paper and a pencil, and let's get ready to go. Today, we're doing an introduction to division. That's right. Now remember, Charlie, you're in college now. This is the big time. We don't send students to detention. We send students over to admissions so that you can register for the class next semester. Uh-huh. You awake now? I thought so. Okay, let's get going right here. Now pay attention, Charlie. There are different ways of indicating division. Okay? Sometimes we use this notation here. Now, this is the quotient of 12 and 4. Quotient is the word that indicates division. Okay? Sometimes we use this bar here. Now, this little bar kind of says you have a fraction. It's 12 divided by 4. A division symbol itself, right? Division symbol with a bar and the two dots, you can think of it as a fraction where you have a numerator and a denominator and this little bar right here, right? So it's like fraction. We'll get to fractions very soon. Or we can represent it this way. As a fraction, this is 12 over 4. 12 is the numerator, 4 is the denominator. We'll get to that later. And we can use this long division method. Okay? The 12 and the 4, they're called dividends and divisors. I'm not sure right now. I'll come back to that later. Mind your own business, Charlie. Okay, we'll get back to that in a second here. Now, all these expressions are telling you to divide 12 by 4. So, well, what does that actually mean? What does division actually mean? Well, we're going to talk about division, and we're going to look at it on a number line. Okay? Now, you'll see today why it was so important to learn how to do arithmetic. In other words, how to add and subtract. Because if you can add and subtract, then you can do the multiplication. And if you could do multiplication, then you can do division. You'll see that today. All right, so here we go, Charlie. So our first problem right here, 12 divided by 4. Well, let's go back to the number line. I like the number line. Nobody asked you, Charlie. Anyway, this question, 12 divided by 4, is basically asking you, how many 4s go into a 12? That's 12 divided by 4. How many 4s go into a 12? Well, let's look at it from that standpoint. Watch. Here's 1 4, 2 4s, and 3 4s. What's 4 times 3, Charlie? 12. 12. That's how we did our multiplication. Now, I want you to realize, how many 4s does it take to make up a 12, Charlie? 3. That's right, 3 of them. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. That's really because 4 times 3 is 12. Right? 4 times 3 is 12. Think about that. We're going to come back to that in a second. Now, I know you're probably out there thinking, hey, what about 12 divided by 3? Well, let's do that one right now. 12 divided by 3. How many 3s go into a 12? Well, here's 1 3. Here's another 3. Here's another 3. And one more 3s. Okay, Charlie, how many 3s does it take to make up a 12? 4. 4 of them. So 12 broken up into 3s. How many 3s are there? 4. There's 4 of them. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. C'est bravo. Anyway, well, what's 3 times 4, Charlie? 12. 12, that's right. And so, remember that. We're going to come back to that in a little bit. All right. Well, let's do this one. 13 divided by 4. Now, don't get scared. Just use the force. You'll see. We're going to kung fu this one. Watch. All right, Charlie. Here we go. 13 divided by 4. How many 4s go into a 13? Well, there's 1 4. There's another 4. And there's a third 4. Now, that's 12, right? Now, we're trying to get to that 13, Charlie. So, how much is left over? 1. That's right. It's 1 unit. And what you should be realizing here, 13 divided by 4 is 3, right? 3 4s. But we have remaining what, Charlie? 1 unit. And so in pre-algebra, we write that as like that, 3 with a remainder of 1. Because you can see there's 1 unit remaining. Kung fu. Anyway, let's look at another one here, Charlie. 15 divided by 4. How many 4s go into a 15? Because that's really what you're asked with this problem. Let's take 1 4, 2 4s, 3 4s. Now, we can't go another 4 because that would take us to 16. That's too much. We're only given 15 because it's 15 divided by 4. So, we're at 12, Charlie. It took us 3 4s to get to the 12. How many units are remaining, Charlie? 3. There's 3. Now, how'd you figure that out? 15 subtract 12? 15 subtract 12 is 3. Or you just counted, right? It's right there. All right, so what's our answer, Charlie? 3 with a remainder of what? 3 of 3 units. Very nice there. Well, let's take the long division approach. All right? Long division. The 15 is our dividend. And the 4 out there is called the divisor. There you go. Okay. Now, Charlie, when you do a long division, 4 goes into 15 how many times? 3. 3 of them, that's right. You can see it right there on the number line. Okay, and the way you do this is 3 times 4 is what? 12. 12. It's right there for you. And then what are you supposed to do, Charlie? Subtract. Subtract. And that's how you figured it out, right? 15 subtract 12 is what? 3. And there you go. There's your 3 with a remainder of 3. Kung Fu. Anyway, let's go on to another one here. 15 divided by 7. Now, how many 7s go into a 15? Well, let's go to 1 7 here. Okay? And let's go to another 7. Now that takes us to 14. We can't go to another one because that'll take us to 21, right? 7 times 2 is 14. Now, we're trying to get to the 15. Charlie, how many units are left over? 1. 1 unit. Very nice there. And so our answer is 2 with a remainder of 1. That's right. Because 2 7s give us 14, right? So 7 goes into 15 2 times with 1 unit remaining. Very nice there, Charlie. Now, how about 20 divided by 7? Well, 1 7, 2 7s is 14. 7 times 2 is 14. How many units are left over, Charlie? 6. 6, that's right. 20 subtract 14 is 6. And so our answer is 2, right? How many times is 7 going to 20? Well, 2 of them, 2 times, with a remainder of 6 units. Very nice. And if we do the long division, right? 20 is our dividend, 7 is our divisor. 7 goes to 20. How many times, Charlie? 2. 2 times, and 2 times 7 is 14. It's right there. And then what do you do, Charlie? Subtract to get your remaining units. And 20 subtract 14? 6. 6. So your answer is 2 with the remainder of 6. Kung Fu. Anyway, let's go on to another one here. Now, let's talk about multiplication and its relationship to division. Watch. I showed it to you on a number line. Now we're going to visualize it using the concept that multiplication is really addition. You remember this, Charlie? 4 times 8. I don't want the answer. I want to know, what does it mean? What does it mean, Charlie? 4 times 8. I think what he's trying to say is there's 8 4s being added together, because that's what 4 times 8 means. Okay, and that is 32. That's right. Same as 8 times 4. But 4 times 8 is 32. Now watch this. You're out there and somebody asks you, hey, what's 32 divided by 4? And that happens all the time, by the way. Well, they're basically asking you, how many 4s go into a 32? It's right there. How many 4s go into a 32, Charlie? 8 of them. 8 of them, that's right. Because 4 times 8 is what, Charlie? 32. 32. Kung Fu. Anyway, let's go on to another one here. 8 times 7. Okay, Charlie. If you do 8 times 7, that's a tough one there, by the way. But we're going to Kung Fu 8 times 7. Watch. Remember, we did this all back in the multiplication video. 8 times 7, what does it mean? It means that you have 7 of these 8s being added together. There's 7 of them. Now, 5 of the 8s. What's 8 times 5, Charlie? 40. 40. That's right. And 8 times 5 is 40, and 2 more 8s is 16. And 40 and 16 is 56. That's some Kung Fu math right there. Okay, now, 56 divided by 8. How many 8s go into 56? It's right there.